Hey, what is going on, fam? We are back and we are going to hit this hard. This is day 2 of the Mountain Summit Virtual. Ignite the spark. The time is now. How's everybody doing this morning? Yesterday, we had an incredible day, right? We talked about igniting the spark and we heard story after story after story of working on loss and grief and how everybody pays tribute to their loved ones. And I talked about the different memories that I share and still share today after the passing of my older brother, Joe. And what I hope that we all ended the day with was this burning within your soul, this burning within your heart, that it's time to step out from the shadow of the mountain. We kicked it off with Ashley Burking sharing, trauma from her past and how she decided to lift a boundary and to begin opening up a relationship with someone within her family, and how that's blossomed into being able to be a part of her family's life and interacting at birthday parties. We heard stories from Michael Faber on creating those new beginnings and to pushing forward and never giving up on what you wanted your dreams to become a reality. We heard stories from Elena Rodriguez as we got close to wrapping up yesterday about discovering what her first husband did and what ignited that spark within her to get her to build her empire, her queen status where she is at now. And I know about you, I went to bed last night fired up. And I knew within my heart and my soul that what we were going to bring today was going to get us to the summit. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we could stay in the shadow of the mountain. The snow could blow sideways. Feet of snow could pile up. The fire we could keep stoked and stay in our tent and stay in our comfort zones. Or we could depart from that base camp with those that understand what we have been through. Those who will always have your back. I don't know about you. I'm not going to stay in base camp. Base camp is where we can enter and grieve and remember for a time. But it's not to be meant to stay there for the remaining parts of our lives, to be isolated, to not love again. This is the moment where we make that decision that we want to have that courage to connect again, to reopen our hearts, to forgive those, maybe somebody that have hurt us. I don't know. There have been people in my life that I've needed to forgive over the years. And forgiveness is easy for me because I've always been a very forgiving person. But maybe trust is something that can be worked on as we continue this climb and to have that courage to connect. So this is the point where we take what we've learned yesterday from all the amazing souls, the hearts, who had the courage to step on this mountain, the Mountain Summit Virtual Mountain, the New Beginnings Mountain, and to take those next steps. So let's get out of our own way and let's take a famous saying that my brother had on his Iron Man dog tag that said, if anybody in our lives are going to tell me that I can't do something, Let's take on that mindset that he said that I use every single day, is that don't tell me I can't and the time is now. And how we're going to start to continue that fire that we ignited yesterday, to continue it today, and to continue it for the rest of our lives and spread this like an avalanche across all the mountain peaks here all over the world, is I'm going to introduce a very, very dear brother of mine. This is Chris Morrison. I met Chris back in Nashville, Tennessee, back in 2025. In, I just said, March 2025. And I wish I could take credit for this one, but I give credit where credit is due, like I said throughout the day yesterday. Austin made this amazing connection, and I am truly grateful that he did, because Chris and I have become very dear friends, and I consider him an older brother. I'm going to tell you, folks, buckle up, lace up, put your crampons on, because Chris's story is going to shake you to your core. The stories that we're going to hear throughout the day are going to reawaken a part of yourself that maybe have been laying dormant. So let's get this summit going. Let's get this summit pushing, and let's get to the mountaintop. Chris, the summit's yours.
Thank you, David. I'm going to ask for a little bit of grace in this, as this is the hardest thing I've ever wrote. It was the hardest thing I've ever, probably not the hardest thing I've ever done. And I was playing with this until about midnight last night, so there's going to be a little bit more reading today than there was in past. So, but with that, I'm going to jump in. You see, I don't believe that there's one right way to grieve, but I know there are a couple of wrong ones. You see, I know because I've lived them. When I was 12 years old, sitting in a church pew the color of faded gold and brown, I remember staring at the carpet, white flowers at the front of the room, and the air had that heavy feeling that like everyone was holding their breath, and I was trying to do the same. And there was this man, he walked up to me, he puts his hand on my shoulder. Chris, you gotta be strong, man. You gotta be there for your mother, for your brother and your sister. You're the man of the house now. Man of the house. I was 12 years old. The last thing my dad taught me was how to shave. I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't know how to lead a family. I didn't know what a man actually was. But I know what I'd seen. Men don't cry, at least not the ones that people respect. So when I felt the tears rise up, I blinked them back. I took a deep breath and I swallowed. I can still remember the feeling of it going down my throat and into my stomach. And I thought that was strength. And you see, no one meant me harm that day. That wasn't what he was trying to do. He was passing down what had been passed to him. Be strong. Hold it together. Other people are counting on you. And that message works. It builds responsibility. It builds discipline. It builds companies. It builds leaders. But it does not teach you how to feel. When you swallow grief, you don't eliminate it. You store it. And stored grief waits, building in the background. At 17, I lost my dream of becoming an airline pilot by 0.2%, 0.2%. It came in a manila envelope from the Army. Across the front was one word stamped in bold red ink: disqualified. Not because of any mental capacity or anything that I could do, because of a lung capacity test. You see, I have asthma. There was nothing to train, nothing to improve, nothing to fight. It wasn't about effort. It was just biology. And that might have been the hardest part. And at that point, I didn't rage. I didn't argue. I just collapsed. I found that sometimes grief isn't the death of a person. Sometimes it's the death of who you thought you were going to be. And so I collapsed. I flailed. I flunked out. I ended up at a vocational tech school, the one where the bad kids go. Other schools had decided they didn't want me anymore. My grades had slipped. I had become violent, angry in ways that I just didn't understand. You see, those unprocessed feelings don't just disappear, it leaks. I didn't say I'm grieving. I just stopped dreaming. And quietly, I stamped something on myself. Not good enough, not chosen, not for us. When my identity collapsed, most people don't call it grief. They just call it I'm figuring something out. And then they go quiet. So in that time, I stopped chasing the sky and I started performing on the ground. I threw myself into learning how to be a machinist, then into manufacturing. I worked and I worked and I worked. By my mid-20s, I had built a serious career. In 2010, I was making $180,000 and one of the very best in the world at what I was. 28-year-old kid. On paper, I was successful. I was skilled. I was respected. I was valuable. But achievement can silence doubt, but it cannot heal grief. Underneath the success was still that envelope, still the word disqualified, still that feeling of unworthy. So I did what I learned at 12. I swallowed it and I kept going. And then I lost my family, not to death, but to conflict. There was no funeral. There was no ritual, no moment where everyone gathered and said, "We see your loss." Just distance, silence. And you see, that kind of grief is even more dangerous because it's invisible. And this is where I slept. Sex, hard drugs, isolation. I moved into this 480 square foot apartment in downtown Seattle, small on purpose. I made sure that no one could move in with me. I made sure that no one could be there for me. I kept everyone at arm's length, even with money, even with success. You can make almost $200,000 a year and still be bankrupt emotionally. Most people don't fall apart loudly. They decay privately. Escaping pain does not remove it, it compounds it, and eventually collapse brought me to my knees. So at 30, I found recovery, community, honesty, accountability. For the first time in my life, I let people see me. Not the capable version, not the high-functioning version, the real one. And it changed everything. I built friendships that were honest, friendships where no one was pretending, friendships where people knew my story and stayed anyway. For 7 years, I showed up. I stayed. I let myself be supported, and slowly I began to believe something I had never believed before. Maybe I don't have to do this alone. Then one of my best friends, a man I sponsored, took his own life. It didn't just break my heart, remembering time after time how he sat on my back porch on his final day, holding that door handle, looking back and saying, "Chris, I love you. They're the best friend I've ever had." It drumming something else out of me. It was hopelessness. The kind that whispers, "Here we go again, another loss, another funeral, another person gone." This time I talked about it though. I cried. I didn't hide my emotions, but underneath all of that, I had made a decision, a quiet, conscious one. If this is the place where the self-proclaimed sick and dying go, then maybe building my life here is like walking into a cancer ward. You know, the ones, the room where people are sitting there getting chemo? And I felt like maybe this wasn't the place to make friends. I thought if I attach here, if I build here, I am just signing up to lose more people. And for me, it all made sense. And maybe it wasn't compassionate, but it was my truth. I was tired of losing people. So I decided to protect myself, not dramatically, not angrily, just a strategy. I stayed a little less. I shared a little less. I depended a little less. And I convinced myself I was evolving, outgrowing it. But what I was really doing was isolating yet again. And my isolation doesn't always look like collapse. Sometimes it looks like self-sufficiency. Sometimes it looks like strength, and sometimes it feels like wisdom, but it's still isolation. And isolation distorts grief. And here's the part I don't say out loud very often. I am fucking tired of grieving. Ron, my biological father. Rick, my grandpa. Even my stepdad, Peter, who disappeared overnight one night. Dave, my adoptive dad, the campground where I learned to be a boy. Eric, lost to drugs far too young. My dream of becoming a pilot, a family I once knew. Amy, who drank herself to death at 32. Cameron, my sponsee. Tim, my marriage. And my son, Oliver. This one's different. It's 7 o'clock at night. I've just gotten back from Flagstaff and my phone rings. His mom says he's having an asthma attack and she needs me to take him to the hospital, so I get in the car. And it's only 10 minutes from my house to hers, but by the time it took me to get there, the EMTs had arrived and they're working on him. But I know he's not with us anymore. And as the police show up to give the EMTs space to continue to work on him, they take me into the back. And that's where I see it, the foil sitting there, the burn marks, the track marks. And I am so mad. This isn't theory anymore. This is my son, and he's everywhere I go. The park across the street, his juice boxes in the pantry that I can't throw away, his laugh in my head, and alongside that grief, the anger. Anger at the system, anger at her manipulation, anger at myself for not doing more faster. And what I'm learning right now, not years from now, is that I don't have to amputate that anger to be loving. Because anger exit for a reason. I loved him fiercely, and he loved fiercely. He loved his brother. He loved his mom. He loved his friends. And he loved me. He didn't ration it out. He wasn't timid with it. He didn't live anything halfway. And I can feel that energy even now. It presses me on in the best way. It pushes me to choose love every chance, every place I can. Not soft love, not passive love, but fierce love, that love with a spine. A couple days after Oliver died, my friend Judy said something that shifted me. She said, grief is meant to be witnessed. And even though I didn't understand that at first, I do now. When we grieve in isolation, it hardens us. And when we grieve in the open, it softens. When we let our griefs be seen, we give others permission to be honest about theirs. So let that grief be witnessed to become human. Grief that is hidden becomes distortion. For most of my life, I've tried to be strong by swallowing it down, by pushing everyone away and doing it on my own. And now I'm learning that strength might look like letting it be seen. And I wish I could tell you that I've made sense of all this because I haven't. 35 days is not perspective, it's just presence with this moment. Some days I'm steady. Some days I'm angry. And some days I just stand in the kitchen and cry. But I know this. Closing my heart will not bring him back. Numbing this pain will not honor him. So I'm choosing each day imperfectly to choose love, to choose forgiveness, to choose compassion and understanding, to stay open, to let it hurt, to let people show up for me, because I have never done that before, to feel everything, to love with a spine, and to live fully anyway. Not because I feel strong, but because he did. And that is how I will carry him forward. Whatever you're carrying right now, grief, shame, failure, anger, something no one else knows about, you don't have to carry it alone. Thank you guys.
Wow. Um, Chris. Yeah, Josh. Yeah. Brother, I'm not a father, but I am a godfather. And I know that's different. I want everybody on Facebook, Zoom, and YouTube. I know a lot of fierce, resilient, strong men in my life. And you're all here on the Zoom. And there will be many more joining us later as the day goes on. And you know, the strongest man in my life is the man that I created this mission for. But I want everybody, before I hand this over to the Zoom room, to take a second here. This is the definition of empathy and love. Chris, I can't even fathom, dude. Like I said, I'm not a father. But what I will tell you this is Oliver is damn proud of you. And I am fucking proud of you for what you just did today. Zoomland, what do you got for our brother?
Chris,
Josh.
listening to you speak, watching your lives on Facebook is so hard because it's way too real. And I think, though, that's why it's so necessary. Because, as you said, grief not only deserves to be witnessed, but demands to be witnessed. And it's by sitting with each other in even unimaginable pain that we honor the love that is the other side of that pain. And I am angry at what happened to your son. I am angry at a world that allows it. But that anger is also righteous and also calls on all of us to fight for a world where that doesn't happen. And there are no words. There are no words that make sense of it, that make it okay. It's a level of pain that is unimaginable. But we see you, and we're not turning away. Sending love. And it's we say it's funny, but it's not funny at all. Funny's the wrong word, but we use it in the wrong way all the time. It's it's kind of crazy how people talk about how when we speak, when we motivate, we should speak from scars but not from wounds. And that's bullshit. Because there are wounds that never scar. There are hurts that never go away. We just learn to live around them because of how deeply we love.
Thank you, Josh. Oh, man. Dad, what you got?
Um,
Take your time.
love, gratitude, sharing. Thank you for allowing us to bear witness for Oliver. Love you.
Thank you, Deb. Go ahead, James.
Um, my brother, since Movement Maker Live and the in-depth conversations that we had about parenting and fathering and, you getting to meet my little guy and just having those moments, I'm very much an empathetic and I very much can put myself in someone else's shoes. And even that, just the synapse of what I feel like I understand probably isn't even close. Like when I lost my sister, I thought that was it. But the thought of losing someone as close as that hurts beyond anything, and that's just the thought. So the real experience, I'm not even going to pretend because I won't. Um, and I know in the conversations that we've had and the exchanges that we've had, I know what kind of a father you are, and I know what kind of a man you are, and I know what kind of a person that you are striving to be every day. And while it's impossible to get up and roll out of bed and look at reality, you're doing it. And while it's impossible to sit and go through the motions and still be present and still be a father while you're going through your own stuff, through all of the external chaos, you do it. And I want to bring you back to something because I've been thinking about it a lot, even before all of this. And I've been praying about you a lot, even during all this. And it's simple. It's so complicated, but it's so simple. And it's just making the choice every day to be you. And let me tell you, every day since I had this, I read this to my little guy. I read this to my little guy. I read this for me. Because no matter what external circumstances happen, I get to choose. And I will tell you, this is one of my son's favorite books. It is one of my favorite books, low key. It takes a lot to be present in storms. It takes a lot to be present, period. But just know you're making a massive impact without realizing it, my friend. You have people that are willing to carry you if need be to wherever you got to go or wherever you want to go. So if you need to be carried to a safe space, well, I'll make one for you. If you need to go to a Starbucks, it's going to be a long drive, but I'll get there. All right. And Starbucks is not the greatest coffee in the world, but it's still good, but we get to choose, man. And even in the misery, even in the heartache, even in the stress, even in the unfathomable, You get to choose. And I am massively, massively inspired that you're still choosing to be present, even when every part of your emotional being's telling you to just sit in a corner, to be alone, to figure it out yourself, to, do all the manly things that we're conditioned to do, right? It takes a real man's presence to do what you're doing. And I want you to know that um, if there is anything, and I know I sent you this message a while back because I don't want to push, I don't want to press. That's not how I operate. But very much here, very much present, very much open. My family to yours, we love you because you got to meet them. And I just want you to know, brother, like you're not by yourself. You might feel alone, but you're not by yourself. All right. Phone call, text message, anybody here, I know they will definitely hang out and resonate with you. And I know I said this to you in the beginning, and I'm going to say it to you again. I'm still jealous of that damn beard, brother.
James, I love you, bro.
Got a lot more gray even just in the last year, man. There's been a
Oh,
lot.
dude. I know. I'm so
The
jealous.
whole
Mine's like
this whole thing.
stuck here. Like I'm stuck on small. I can't even get the medium. Like,
Uh,
Way to get the heaviness out of the room right there for James. I love you,
I
bro.
never said I was an appropriate timing. I just know I have timing. However, that looks is perspective.
What do you got for us, Austin?
Chris, man, um, thank you for that. Um, we have a lot of similarities. I lost my father 7 or 8 years ago. And I have a 7-year-old boy and a 4-year-old boy. And so, just like James said, that you are making an impact with just the way you grieve. And I know we've messaged each other back and forth, but just know that you are not alone. Just like James also said, you are in a community here that want to support you. So, thank you.
Thank you, Austin. And I really haven't shared this much, but in June, when you can make a trip out here to Colorado, maybe August, if you want to, I've got a friend that has a cabin up in the Rockies where you can get out into nature and go be with yourself like you've been doing and reflecting and spending some time. I'll be more than happy to set that up so we can get up there. I know you and I talked about this about a month ago. I just need a couple of months because I'm having a full shoulder rotator cuff repair on my left shoulder coming up in April, and I won't be able to do anything for a couple months after that. But seriously, Chris, I'll reach out. You've met this friend of mine, and he knows what happened, and we'll set something up so we can get you. And I'm spacing on your second boy's name,
Asher.
Asher. We'll set something up where you and I and Asher and Joe, maybe I can get Austin to bring Marshall down, and we'll go up into the Rockies and get into the country and get out of town and just be up in nature. So I echo what everybody says here, man. You truly, truly have inspired and making a massive, massive impact, because I can resonate with anger and temper. And when mine goes, it goes. But what I've seen through you has really seriously impacted my life to help me realize I need to really put some work into that area of my life. So I really love and appreciate you for that.
Can I say something to that real
Sure.
quick? That I was in a conversation this week, and the guy asked me, he's like, Chris, how are you feeling? And I've been afraid of my anger for a long time, right? Because at one point in time, I was an extremely violent human being who his outlet was hurting people. I was, in MMA, but I also took it to other places that weren't appropriate. And so I've been very, very afraid of my anger. And I was suppressing that. I've been pushing that down because there's a dogma. I realized that there is a dogma in the personal development world that shuns anger, that pushes it away, that, oh, everything must be love and light and butterflies flying out your asshole. And it's fucking bullshit. Like, I'm sorry, to be enlightened is not to amputate some aspect of who you are. It's to fully accept who you are and then understand how do you transmute and how do you use that energy. It's not to push something down. It's not to hide something. Now, you can't just let it blow up and go wherever the fuck it's gonna go. But it sure as shit isn't something that you hide from because we are all whole ass human beings, right?
Mhm.
And I fucking am totally okay with being mad around the conditions that happen with my son. Now, I don't get to go burn down the fucking house, but I sure as heck can make sure that I don't stand in the way of the consequences that those people have created for themselves.
Thank you for
I don't
sharing.
stand in the way for, all of that. And so that's something that it really kind of hit me like a full body truth this week as I was trying to stuff anger and hide from it and push it away.
Thank you for sharing that, Chris, because taking a stand is very important, especially in a situation like yours. And I hate saying situation because that's not the right word, but
There's no right word. Situation is as close as we can get, my man.
yeah, in every aspect, man. And no, thank you for sharing that. Go ahead, Deb, and then
Chris, you have done what few people can claim to do. You rendered me a speechless puddle. Yeah.
and I
Having
and
found my voice, don't applaud at that, David.
and I will
Oh,
say this though, Chris, I love Deb because she always pours into our community and supports everybody. And in the past two summits, to have those few words that Deb offered it right after your amazing, powerful talk, I have not seen that. That's how big of an impact you were making. That's
Chris,
what,
you the man.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Um,
drive home here. So go
mhm.
ahead, Deb.
And Oliver. Um, with regard to, I want to say two things, and then we can like skedaddle on to the next things. But anger, completely agree. You need to have some sort of control. Like you said, don't burn the house down. Um, I would love to go to one of those places. I don't even know if they really exist much anymore, but you can go and you can spend some money and not even a lot, I don't think. And you can like break everything in the room. I just think that would be so wonderful
Rage
because,
room.
yeah, rage rooms. Yes, yes. Let's book some rage room sessions. Hey, maybe that's something for the NBM. Uh, Anywho, because anger feels so much better than despair. It's part of the emotional scale. Despair being the lowest, love being the highest, and you've got all of it coursing through your system at any given point in time. And what I also want to use, using you as one of the poster guys in this room full of modern age men We talked numerous times yesterday, David, and these gorgeous men who are, back today in this room. And what I am loving so much is to see machismo redefined. You all are incredible examples of this. We see what old school machismo, bury the feeling, everything, shake it off, don't cry. We see where that gets us. It's not pretty. You guys are the leaders. And I'm here to support you guys in every single way possible. And I couldn't be more thrilled to see that sensitivity, that being in touch with your feelings, that all of this is the new badass. So Chris, you are my badass friend. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Chris, for coming back to the summit and opening day 2. I wouldn't want to be the one to follow you. Just, bro, I love you, man. We're all here for you, and I'll be messaging you, and stay in touch. We're going to do many more things down the road here, and if you can tune in throughout the day today, tune in as much as you can. I know you got a busy schedule with what's going on Saturday, and if there's anything that you need, just reach out in our group DM, and we'll help you in any way that we can. Okay, bro?